Hello, my friends, and welcome to Rick Reads. Today we'll be continuing The Demon with Chapter 14. Dante awoke to the smell of meat cooking. He rolled over to see Aaron flipping a piece of ham. The sizzling meat brought a welcome scent to Dante's nose. He had forgotten how long it had been since his last real meal. "Good morning," Aaron said cheerfully. "Nice to see you're a morning person." Dante stood and stretched. "Ugh, force of habit, really," he muttered. "I had to take care of myself at an early age, so sleeping in wasn't much of a luxury. Got any of that food for me?" Aaron looked up at him, feigning annoyance. "You dare ask for my food when you could easily have packed your own? Your plate's over there." Dante went over to where she pointed and sat on a rock. He picked up the plate and began eating, wondering just how much food Aaron had brought with her. As if sensing his thoughts, Aaron said, "I figured I'd cook more food than I originally planned, seeing as you like to travel from town to town. Whatever I run out of, I can restock in the next town." Means bigger meals for us on the road," Dante reasoned. Aaron nodded and served her own plate. "So, what's your plan for this journey?" "Exploration," Dante replied between bites. "It's been a lifetime since I last saw the world. Just wanted to see what's changed." Aaron paused before continuing. "My grandfather said that you're nearly 80 years old. Is that true?" Dante shook his head. "No. A few days ago I'd have said yes, though," he said with a wry smile. Aaron responded with a confused look. Dante laughed and said, "I'm actually over 120. You see, I went back in time for 40 years. According to this timeline, I should only be around 80. "Back in time?" Aaron balked. Dante nodded nonchalantly. "I was given a task by the Reaper, Lord Death." "What was the task? How did Death send you backwards in time?" Dante smiled, reveling in the fact that she'd taken the bait. "The task was to save our timeline." Aaron scooted closer, eyes wide in wonder. She was like a child listening to a grand tale of heroes and villains. "You know of the 50-Year War, right?" Aaron nodded. "Of course. My teachers have said it's the reason for the world state." "Indeed," Dante nodded sagely. "The world used to be very different, according to the historians. You see, I went to the far distant past. I went to the time before technology as we know it. I saw the world before the birth of the Christian faith." Aaron gasped. "But that's over 2,500 years ago. How is this possible?" "Oh, I learned a lot while I was in the 4th century BC. I learned that the world we live in is not alone." "Well, thanks to the war, that's old news," Aaron sighed. Dante nodded. "This is true, but humans don't live nearly as long as the rest of Earth's inhabitants. Demons and angels, vampires and werewolves, so-called demigods and their monsters, they're all hidden, mixed among the mortal races. The generation that survived the war has given birth to 2 more generations since then. Humans are slowly forgetting the existence of people like me. It doesn't help that we're almost invariably capable of hiding what we are to humans. But did you know that Christians have it wrong about who actually rules heaven?" Dante stood and began helping Aaron clean up the dishes. "But I thought angels did exist," Aaron asked, rinsing her plate with a bottle of water. "Otherwise, Earth would simply be an extension of hell." "You listen to your grandfather pretty well," Dante praised. "That part is true. Angels do live in heaven. But they aren't ruled by God, as the Christians believe. They're ruled by Amun-Ra, the ancient Egyptian sun god." After breaking camp, they began walking along a trail heading further west. "How could you know that? I thought angels and demons were enemies." "Oh, I know an archangel, personally." "Then who rules hell? If the Christians were wrong about their God, then were they wrong about hell?" Not entirely. They knew of Lucifer, though they got his origins wrong. Most of it was his fault, though. But when Satan took over, that was the last time the Christians were right. All of their other stories were just that. You learned all of this in the past? Most of it. A lot of it came from the Archangel, I know. But do you know who rules over Earth? Erin shook her head. Lord Death. He's been around since Earth was formed, set to watch over all life on this little rock. Erin looked shocked, her mouth agape and eyes wide. She truly was a child at times. Dante smiled at the reaction. You're kidding, she hissed. I'm not. He rules over all of us on Earth, seeing to everything from the birds in the sky to the creatures in the seas. So what was this task he gave you? She asked. It was obvious she was still skeptical of Dante's story. As I said, to save our timeline. I was sent back to make certain of the destruction of key places. These places had to be wiped out in order to save a larger portion of Earth from the bombs. But why send you to that particular time period? Erin asked. Couldn't you have gone to a more recent time period and done the same? Excellent question, Erin. I asked the same thing of Lord Death. He told me something I didn't know about myself. See, when a demon destroys a population, the ground is tainted, leaving a curse behind for all those who later inhabit the area. The curse draws people in, people who never realize the place is cursed in the first place. These people rebuild, repopulate, and live their lives. What the curse really does is systematically kill off some of the more successful people of the land. Not always the most successful, but the most influential in the long term. Suppose the man who invented the first wheel was killed. Huge disaster to the timeline. Now, imagine if the man who created the car died off. Terrible loss, sure, but the world would survive. But that's worldwide. You're talking about a town or city. Dante nodded. Yes. Now, think of the person who decided to build a new city next to the one in which he lived. That city would in turn create a new city, and so on. The curse kills that man, leaving the city alone. Someone else comes along and thinks to build a successful shop. The curse leaves him be, while still stopping that shop from expanding too much and eventually trading with other cities. The economy stagnates and the city goes nowhere for a long time. Eventually, the curse wears off, but that can take centuries. Luckily, by the time the war was over, the curse was gone. Now, the cities can flourish in a new world, rather than burn in the old one. Erin considered the words and shook her head. Then that means you've killed thousands of innocent people. Millions, Dante corrected flatly. Unfortunately, their deaths could haunt me for the rest of my very long life. Honestly, I doubt it, but it is possible. I did it to save billions more lives that would have been lost in the war. Erin was shocked at his callous words. How can you be so cold? You live as long as I have and lose what I have. Then tell me you're not a little frigid. Dante's words came out much more harshly than he had meant, but he was not sorry. He had meant the words, if not the sharpness in the tone. Erin quieted, not wanting to anger him further. Her grandfather had told her about Dante and his temper. Just as grandfather said, she whispered. Careful what you say, Dante stated. Might make me curious to know what you mean. Erin sucked in a breath, surprised he had heard her. I only meant that... Well, I didn't mean to offend. What did your grandfather tell you about me? Erin paused, unsure of how Dante would react to some of the things her grandfather had said. Well, first he warned me of your temper. But he said you're a good man otherwise. Dante smiled. Gerard calling him a good man was nothing new. A good man with a penchant for killing is more like what he would say. He laughed. Yes, he did say that. But he also told me that you don't kill without good reason. He's right about that. I have to have a very good reason to kill someone. So? Seeing as your grandfather and I are such old friends, nothing you tell me about what he said will give me reason to kill you. Erin breathed a little easier. Dante scared her more than she was willing to admit. He told me that you're a ruthless fighter and an honorable man for a demon. He says you make quick decisions and act according to your instincts. He also told me that you will let nothing stand in the way of your goals. All fair descriptions, Dante nodded. Did he tell you anything else? Just that he'll break you in half if I come to any harm, Erin quipped nervously. Dante laughed. He would say that. They walked in silence after that, Dante satisfied with the knowledge that Erin knew enough about him. Erin contemplated what Dante had told her about his trip to the past. Dante and Erin walked in silence for a few hours, each enjoying the beauty of the land. The demon could tell that Erin was contemplating all the things he had told her, and was ready to answer whatever questions she undoubtedly had. But it was not until Bethlehem was in sight that she decided to speak up. So, you never explained how death sent you back in time, Erin said. Dante shrugged. It was a magic spell. That's all it really was. Nothing too special, I suppose. But it would have to be a fairly powerful spell. I don't see how a Reaper needs power like that. Dante could see the confusion in her face. Lord Death is the closest thing to a god this world has, he explained. Actually, I think god may be the wrong term. He's more of an entity, a being outside of our own limited scope of understanding. He's not exactly just some immortal soul. Death is a being that exists in every point in time, in every place, in all of existence. I imagine he simply tapped into that essence to send me back. Do you understand now? Erin nodded. I think so. Sort of. Then tell me about this enemy of yours. The one with the ages-old grudge you mentioned when you left your home. Dante sighed. He was there when I first appeared in the past. Apparently, heaven and hell were allies back then. Or at least they were as close to allies as was possible. I'm still not entirely sure. He witnessed the destruction of all those cities I was sent to burn. He spent those 40 years chasing after me to stop me from fulfilling Lord Death's task. Victor had no idea what that task was, nor how it would save so many people from the bombs. Then again, none of what I would have told him even seemed possible back then. There were no nuclear powers, no weapons of mass destruction, other than myself with all the extra power Death granted me. He wouldn't have been able to understand what would come to pass. He fought against me finally, near the end. He gave it everything he had, too. Classic battle between good and evil, angel and demon, right and wrong. In the end, evil triumphed over the greater good. Ironic, really, and a bit amusing, to be honest. Dante trailed off with a faraway look in his eyes. His head tilted slightly to the side, and he had a shallow smile on his face. But you didn't kill him, Erin said after some time had passed. Dante snapped his attention back to her. Actually, I did. I felt his heart stop. The world even seemed to get a little darker with his passing. He pulled a rather sneaky trick on me, though. What was it? Dante's brow furrowed in his attempt to recall what it was Victor's image had told him. I don't remember, he said at length. He told me, I know it, but I can't seem to remember what he said. I guess the shock of seeing him alive after I left him in the dust those thousands of years ago distracted me. Erin frowned, thinking it odd that Dante would forget such an important detail. However, seeing that it bothered Dante quite a bit, she decided to change the subject. How will you know what's changed? Won't your memories be altered to match the current timeline? She asked. Oh, they were altered. But I still have my old memories from before I left. I have a parallel set of memories. I don't understand, Erin replied. Well, honestly, neither do I, Dante quipped. but I know enough of what's different to prepare me for all the changes I may face. Like what? What's different this time? For one, Dante said, lifting a single finger, then pointing it at Aaron, you exist. Aaron looked confused. In one set of memories, Gerard never had children, let alone grandchildren. Yet here you are. Aaron paused to let the thought sink in and shook her head. She found it impossible to imagine her own lack of existence. How did he never have children? She asked after several minutes had passed. He was a homosexual and he was in love with me. Well, that's bold to say, Aaron muttered. No, Dante corrected. It's the truth. He never shut up about it. In my new set of memories, he never shut up about your grandmother either. That was a sad day when she died. You were there? Aaron balked. Don't forget, little girl, I am well over 100 years old. It really wasn't that long ago to me, even with the extra 40 years I spent in the past. Then again, that would still put me at about 80. Huh. Time travel really messes with your timetables. Aaron kept silent for a while. There were more questions rolling through her mind now than before. Then a thought occurred to her. Why did Death send you to do his bidding? She inquired. Death shook his head. Well, I thought I told you that, he replied. No, why you in particular? Ah. I'm not sure, really. You mentioned something about the fact that I've never been to hell. See, I was born here on Earth, you know. In Manhattan, in fact. I suppose it was because my demonic powers hadn't fully developed yet. He needed someone he could infuse with more power in order to do what he needed to be done. Okay, Aaron sighed. Then why send you at all? Why not do it himself? Now there's a good question, Dante grinned. Since Death is a ruler, like Rahan the King of Hell, he's not allowed to directly interfere. He may choose a champion to do his bidding, but no more. But he gave you more power, Aaron countered. Only the same power I would eventually grow into. He amplified my innate abilities. And the knowledge of said abilities is still in there, he said, tapping a finger to his temple. But if he's a being in every point in time, and in every place, who is there to stop him from getting directly involved in mortal affairs? What happens then? I happen, came an angry voice behind them. Dante and Aaron spun to see who had spoken, and Dante gasped in shock. Artemis, he hissed. What the hell are you doing here? The black-armored, winged being took a menacing step toward them, face twisted into a fierce scowl under the black silk blindfold. And that, my friends, was chapter 14 of The Demon. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day.